Cell respiration is the controlled release of energy from organic compounds in cells to form ATP. Glycolysis is the first stage of cell respiration and involves the breakdown of glucose into two molecules of pyruvate. It's an anaerobic reaction and occurs in the cytoplasm. There are four main parts of glycolysis: phosphorylation, lysis, oxidation, and ATP formation. In phosphorylation, the glucose is exposed to two ATP molecules. ATP is an energy currency that's used in the body. As a result of the exposure, ATP, adenosine triphosphate, becomes adenosine diphosphate, ADP, and the glucose molecules gain two phosphates, one on each ATP molecule. In lysis, the 6-carbon diphosphate molecule is then split into two 3-carbon molecules. Now in oxidation phase, NAD comes along and removes the hydrogen atom that is attached to the carbon. Therefore, the NAD is reduced into NADH+, and the carbon molecules are now oxidized. In the ATP formation, the phosphate from each of the carbon molecules is removed by two ADPs, adenosine diphosphate, making ATP. Also, another two ATPs are formed by two phosphate groups attaching themselves to two more ADPs. So therefore, at the end, from one glucose, we result in two pyruvates, which are the carbon chains, two NADH+, and four ATPs. Pyruvate is transported to the mitochondrial matrix, where first, the hydrogen atom that's attached to the pyruvate is removed by the NAD to form NADH+ because of oxidation. Then the pyruvate loses a carbon, and that carbon produces carbon dioxide, and the remaining two carbons are complexed with coenzyme A to form acetyl-CoA. In the matrix, acetyl A combines with 4C compound to form a 6C compound. The acetyl coenzyme A acts only as a transporter, so once the 4C combines with acetyl-CoA, coenzyme detaches and leaves. Then NAD comes along and reduces into NADH+, and because of the instability, a carbon atom is oxidized, making the atom into carbon dioxide. Then another NAD comes along and reduces into NADH+, and because again of the instability, a carbon atom is oxidized, making the atom into a carbon dioxide, leaving us with a 4-carbon chain. After another hydrogen from the chain is removed by NADH, making itself into NADH+, then ATP is formed by ADP coming and connecting with a phosphate group. FAD, another compound, comes and removes two more hydrogen atoms, making itself into FADH2. In this process, we got two carbon dioxides, one ATP molecule, 3 NADH+, and one FADH2. Anaerobic respiration occurs in the absence of supply of oxygen. Therefore, in order to generate small amounts of energy provided by glycolysis, the end product must be converted into another substance before more glucose can be used. So, in plants, alcoholic fermentation occurs. This happens when two oxygens come along and a carbon dioxide detaches from the original 3-carbon compound to form ethanol and carbon dioxide. In animals, lactic acid is produced, which is the same properties as the pyruvate, and they are interchangeable. So once oxygen is supplied to the body, lactic acid is then converted into pyruvate, then goes on to anaerobic respiration. NADH goes to the protein, and it leaves an electron and a hydrogen, so it becomes NAD. The hydrogen passes through the intermembrane space, and the electron uses the electron carrier to get to the next protein, where another hydrogen passes through the protein to the intermembrane space, and again. Then FADH2 goes to the second protein and does the exact same thing, but from the second protein instead of the first. Then the hydrogen in the intermembrane space passes through ATP synthase back to the matrix of the mitochondria. Because of this, ADP and a phosphate are brought together, by the same ATP synthase to create ADP. And the electron that's left in the last protein is taken by the oxygen, and two of the hydrogens that come back into the matrix through the ATP synthase join the oxygen and form water.